We had some really cool stuff happen last night. Mr. BC, I'm going to let you take over this one, man. If you didn't see it last night, USF put a hurting on number 25. Number 25, Boise State at a score of 34-7. Mr. BC was there. He was working the game. He working cameras. Yep. Take it away, Mr. BC. How did it go? What was the vibe, man?
Dude, I was just hoping the game was going to be close. I mean, I figured I was feeling a little ballsy that day. I thought we'll win it on the last second field goal. Nico Gramatica will come through clutch. And I mean, he had a couple big field goals during the game. One from like 56 yards, I want to say. So, you know, being able to tee it up from distance, just like his daddy Martine.
I was about to ask, is that relation to
yeah?
Okay.
I ran into him on the sidelines. Actually, we did like a little we got to put him up and then on a split screen with his son. So that was a pretty cool moment. And like, boom, 56 yards. Like, yo, good luck charm right there, man. But it was good. The whole atmosphere, though, you know, the crowd, obviously being in a big stadium, it's kind of hard to showcase how loud the crowd can be. It's spread out. You know, it's a smaller school. It was still a pretty good sized crowd for a USF game. Obviously, the new stadium that's going to be built in a couple of years, I think, will definitely add a little bit more decibel, a little more loudness to it, a la like what UCF has with the Loud House over there. Yeah, a lot of people were really excited for this one. Obviously, like the graphic just said before, 12th win against a ranked opponent in team history, so that was big. Great way to start the season. I was talking to a lot of my buddies with the production team, and it's like we were all kind of agreeing, like if they start out with a win, that really can set the tone for the season. Like how they play tonight will set the tone. And blowing out the number 25 ranked school is about as good as a way to start the season as you can. The score obviously doesn't tell the whole story. Looking at the stats for the game, it was pretty close. Boise State actually outgained USF in terms of total yardage, passing, and rushing. It was a small amount, but they still technically outgained him. They dominated time of possession. I believe it was like 15 more minutes with the ball. But the big story of the game was turnovers. USF was able to be a lot more opportunistic with that side on defense. They maybe gave up more yards. It was the whole bend but don't break philosophy. That's, you know, I've seen a lot of great defenses. They give up a lot of yards, but they don't surrender points. They take the ball away. USF was able to do that, and not just that, but they were also able to capitalize on it and score. You get good teams take the ball away, great teams take the ball away and score on top of that. So it was just a great, I think, all around game on both sides of the ball. And it was just a really fun setting the tone, setting the atmosphere for what the season's going to look like for sure. And I was not expecting it, but I'm happy to see it. I will say the one of the field goals was kind of knocked down a little bit at the end of the game. You know, I was expecting pandemonium to come to the field, students rushing the field. Not as crazy as I expected. Instead of everybody coming down there quick, it was like maybe 50 people. But they eventually let all the students down in the field, and it was a good team win. But I loved it. The vibes were great. I'm definitely excited to see how they perform the rest of the season, especially with their next two matchups against both of your guys' schools. So especially on the road.
That's actually what I was about to bring up too, man. USF put themselves in a really good spot here.
Yep.
You know, they got Miami, and then they got Florida coming up next. So it's coming out the gates. Three straight ranked teams. If they get 2 out of 3, or if they get all 3, I don't see that happening to get all 3. But if they are able to pull this off, hypothetical, man, they have to be ranked easily. They might even be ranked after this game. Maybe. What do you think?
I think for sure if they don't get ranked, they got to be like, if they're not top 25, they're top 30. They're like knocking on the door.
Right. They may like 26 maybe or something.
Yeah. And I think with regards to UF and Miami, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to blow them out like we did Boise State. I think for us, again, just that same strategy. Go in there. It's on the road. So, you know, we're not going to have that same home atmosphere that we have, obviously, for this game. If we can keep it close, I don't even think we necessarily have to win both of these games. If we can keep it close and then just win the conference the rest of the season, you might be able to convince yourself to get I think the playoff seedings now is like 16, or are we still at 12?
12.
Okay. You might be able to convince enough people maybe to give them that spot in the playoff, because if they can win, obviously, the conference, you know, go undefeated the rest of the way, you know, you beat a ranked school, maybe. But again, even if you don't make the playoffs, but you can still, you know, crack the top 15 or something like that, and just keep it close against UF and Miami, I think that's a win for a season for USF. Like, win the conference, take advantage of this. And, again, this is coming from a school that has not had a lot of success. Our biggest accomplishment was getting number 2 in the rankings in college football back in 07
Yeah.
and then dropping it the next week. So there's not been as much sustained success. So at this point, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, no, especially I think if they're able to put up a meteoric fight against both these teams, if not even eke one out against Miami or Florida, that'll go leaps and bounds for them as far as recruiting and for the rankings. Because if you guys say the article or not, but they're going to be changing how they're looking at the college football ranking system as well. So they're going to actually value strength of schedule, which I think it's about damn time. Because you got these teams that play, you got Alabama that they'll play one good game and then they'll play like 7 stinkers and blow them out by 50 and think they're the best team. And I think it's the same kind of thing that happened with Boise State. Boise State, I don't think had any business being ranked 25. They should not have been in the playoff last year. I was talking to a buddy of mine about it, and they were talking about too, like, should they have reversed and give it to the Heisman to Ashton Genty because he was that damn important to Boise State? You know what I mean? Yeah. But having said that, Travis Hunter, I've had a great year. It was more of a joke, but it's just crazy how they're doing that. So I think that USF has put themselves in a really good spot by getting this top 25 win, put that on the resume, and then put up a fight at least, if not eke one of those 2 wins out, these next 2 games. Yeah. And then they have a very winnable schedule the rest of the year. They got Navy is probably the hardest one, I think, on the schedule they have left.
Outside, yeah.
They have a very interesting road ahead of them,
Yeah,
and just put up a fight.
What's up?
Just put up a fight, I think, is their biggest thing right now. Put up a fight and maybe try to win by a field goal against one of them. A win's a win. Yeah. And a team like USF, that goes a long way.
Exactly. And I will say for everybody, though, too, like Byron Brown, you're not familiar with the name, keep your eyes on him, their quarterback. He's got a dog in him. He had a lot of times when he was about to get sacked, pulled out, some big runs, clutch runs, was able to run over some defenders, and he's got a good arm. He's going to be something someday. I got my eyes on him. And then just one more thing about the game, though, too, before we move on. I love what they did with regards to new tradition. They're talking about starting a lot of new traditions at USF, and I think one of the cool things they're doing is now every player or every year they're allowing one player to wear the number 63. For those that don't know much about Tampa sports history, that used to be the number Leroy Selman wore when he played for the Bucks. Obviously, one of the first ADs, I believe, in USF history. Or maybe not one of the first, but big-time athletic director in the school's history. Really helped usher in the football program, meant a lot to USF football in general. So now they're allowing one student or one football player each year to wear that. And so it's just pretty cool to kind of see, there's a little patch on the jersey as well, just to honor him, just his legacy. I just thought that was really cool. And it's nice to see these traditions for college football. So
respect.
That's pretty sick.